Was one of the 12 jurors on the James J. Bulger trial. It was long and very involved. We talked frequently amongst ourselves, the jury, that probably in the history of America, a jury hasn't been faced with what we were faced with. In the expanse of time when all these crimes were said to be committed, the amount of characters involved in it, and then to top it all off, they had a little bit, actually a lot of corruption thrown in from the government. So we had to sift through all of that and, decide if you're going to think the main witnesses were credible, given the fact that they were, serial killers and the like. So it was a very, very difficult situation for us. Start with, I will say that even the most of us were very close, developed close relationships through those 2 months. So by the time we went into deliberations, we knew each other quite well in a sense. What we first were struck with was the immensity of the counts and the acts that we had to go through, 48 counts, 33 acts, and just trying to figure out how to even begin, where to begin. So a lot of questions for the judge right up front, and then trying to figure out our notes and things like this that we could. What happened at first was we were moving slower because we didn't understand what we were doing quite yet. And we started out by trying to go right down the line, count 1, count 2, and then we had the 33 acts. And we realized when we got to the acts, which consisted mainly of the murders, we were having difficulty. It was a highly emotional situation when we got there. And we decided to skip all the acts and go right to the next count, count 3. There were some situations that we just didn't have enough information on. And that, we wanted to, we felt bad for the families of the victims, for the ones that we came back with the not proven, and somehow want to make them understand that us saying not proven was not saying he was innocent. It was saying the prosecuting attorneys did not do enough to bring us information that we could make a decision without reasonable doubt, which is what our charge was to do. It's pretty gruesome testimony, especially since I had tried to avoid that type of thing in my life, reading or watching it as entertainment. And to see these men, especially Materano and Flemmy, just talking about killing someone like it was swatting a fly on their arm. I mean, that was pretty just horrified, You couldn't help being horrified. Seemingly having no conscience about what they did when they talked about it. So that was difficult. As for Bulger himself, he was very quiet for the most part. And because he was so quiet and just pretty stoic, it was hard to even develop, his personality or anything. You just didn't really get much out of him at all as far as that went. He had a couple of outbursts, but I think that they were understandable given the circumstances of the emotions between him and whoever he had the outburst with, and they were brought under control quickly. Mm-hmm. So, it was really hard to get a handle on him. Mm-hmm. I'm at peace with it. We took it very seriously. We really did. We went over every count and every act and found every bit of testimony or evidence we had. And we made the decisions we felt were the decisions we could make. I don't think any of us are losing sleep over that at all. I don't know for me personally if it's sunk in yet, because like I said, I really didn't pay attention to know he was that at the time. But I will say this, I remember watching when they captured him in California, and I was with the mother of this little boy I take care of. I was working. And both of us just remarking about it, and I knew nothing. And now to think that my path has crossed with his path is just like, oh, that hasn't really sunk in yet. I don't think. But yeah, and like I said, my heart right now is more the corruption that was in the case. Whitey, guilt by association, whatever. He was involved with those guys. There's no doubt about it. Though I don't know a lot about him other than what I heard in the courtroom. Certainly, he was a bad, bad man. But I'm just as stunned. I'm just as stunned by the corruption in government to get him in that courtroom.